and welcome to FiveWhoFans. Today we're reviewing Arachnids in the UK. Hi, I'm Billy, this is John, this is Dan, and today we're joined by Jenny.
Hi.
We've watched it, what do we think? Dan, let's start with you. What did you think?
Don't start with me. Not again. It was as silly as I was hoping, I think, with a proper silly bad guy. And it was creepy as hell. I don't like spiders. I haven't got arachnophobia, but I don't like spiders. And all the other spider episodes, reasonably creepy. That one was by far the most. I was literally like that. I feared, and I had a couple of moments where I was looking on the floor and I was thinking, is that a spider? I was like, no. So creepy as hell and silly and camp. Sort of quite different to last episode, but in a good way, because I think the joy of Doctor Who is that each episode, more than each series, each episode can be just entirely different from each other. So I'm so glad that is proper camp Doctor Who, and I'm happy with it.
I don't think much of it, to be honest. I thought it was slow in areas. There's a lot of standing around and talking, and that kind of worked in old Doctor Who, but it doesn't work now. I found it really boring. I thought, and I like Chris Noth, but his script was really embarrassing, and not in a good way. I found him massively embarrassing. I found it really abrupt, and I agree with everything Dan said, Ari, the spiders, but everything else was either boring or badly acted or really cringe.
So 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 for me!
I enjoyed it. I had fun. It wasn't as great as last week, but it was a very different type of episode. It was aiming very differently. I think from a visual effects and animation standpoint, that was incredible. There's some stuff in there that I never thought. The level of effects I've never expected to see in Doctor Who. I had fun. I had fun. It was what I expected it to be, which is a camp 50s B movie type of romp. Maybe not camp. Camp probably not the right word, but yeah. Just grime spiders.
Extra grimy. Delicious. Crunchy spiders. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, it was just fine, wasn't it? It was just fine. It was just okay. I thought the spiders were fun. I thought the spiders, for the most part, were actually quite cute. Just a little like.
No, that's a cute thing.
Usually, I find spiders like I can handle them when I look at them. It's just the way they move. But I think watching that was quite nice. I think what's his name? The Sex and the City man.
Chris Noth.
Never heard of him before this.
I wasn't sure what they were trying to do with him, or it was a bit ham-fisted. It was like he's sort of Donald Trump, but we're going to mention Donald Trump, and it's kind of hits you over the head a little bit with it. And I think if they were going to do that in any episode, this is probably the episode that they would get away with it, just because of how silly it is. People die in horrific ways. I love the man being dragged down the bathtub while still alive. He's still screaming and dying. It's horrific and fun. But yeah, beyond that, I don't have very much to say. There wasn't I was hoping that this would be the episode that we'd see more of Yaz as well. But we've seen her family, so she's fleshed out a little bit more in that respect. But to be honest, she didn't really do it for me here either. She's
I think she's suffering from the Cinderella syndrome of like previous companions of I want to get away from it all and do better, and it's great.
That's most companions.
That is most companions, but it's definitely something, especially after Amy and Clara, where it's
and
I found that quite disappointing at the end of this episode when she said that.
Yeah.
And it was everybody else had a really good reason.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want more. And I thought they just don't know what they're doing with Yaz at all.
The bit where all the characters take turns to say why they want to go on the TARDIS for their TARDIS job interview.
Yeah. Oh yeah, don't forget. Yeah.
Team TARDIS.
But was anybody else expecting a payoff to the end of the episode? Because there wasn't one.
It just sort of ended.
And then Chris Noth ran away.
Yeah, he just walked off.
And then they were fade out. right, this is the end bit.
It's that kind of thing as well of like, so what have we learnt here today? Like, I'm not sure what the lesson was.
No.
Spiders.
Spiders.
Breathe through their skin.
Yeah.
If they get too big, they'll suffocate.
The spider dying scene.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
What
like
were
that.
they trying to? What? Why was there this sudden? The spider's dying. Oh my god, it's so sad, and it was so misplaced. It was so out of place, that scene.
If they'd had more of that throughout, I feel like they could have done with some more scenes of the Doctor looking at spiders and going, "Oh, you're beautiful," like we had with Tennant and the Werewolf.
Mm.
But at the same time, during those scenes, you've got spiders killing people. So having the Doctor go, "Oh, you're so amazing," whilst the spider's like webbing someone up, going, "Ah!"
The Doctor did that big talk about we need to let them die naturally. So it was they're all, well, I don't say beautiful, but they're organic creatures. So there was a bit of that. So I don't think there's really an excuse. It was just untidy. There was a lot of untidiness.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, I was a bit harsh in my first sentence, but I don't hate the episode, but it was so untidy, and that the end bit with in the TARDIS and that and Chris Knott, there was so much, and it was just a mess.
It's another episode I can't see, like when the box set comes at the end of the series. It's not one that I'll jump to straight away. It's one that I'll kind of be like, oh yeah, that was the spider. It's definitely going to do its job as in terrifying children.
Oh yeah.
It was a good Halloween episode in that regard, but not in the plot department. You're right about it being untidy, yeah.
I mean, it did get this sofa, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, it was great. Because me and Billy were just enjoying it for its existence, and then you had you guys.
We'll get second-hand enjoyment through that.
Like screaming, not screaming,
Squealing.
Not squealing. What's the when you're squeamish?
Screeching?
No,
Squeamish.
Squeamish.
Yeah, it was like, I will give them that they took everything that you're afraid of when it comes to spiders and they made them big and put them into sequences. So I think they really utilised the spider threat really well. So like coming up the plug hole kind of thing, them being on the ceiling, under the bed. They really played on that very well. And for the three squeamish people on this sofa, they fully got us. So like, I'm gonna give them 10 out of 10 for utilising the spiders, 100%.
Do we want to talk a bit more about Yaz? Like
Yeah,
Yaz's family, we got to meet some new characters
Okay,
there.
so her family's interesting, I guess. Like, and not as in a like, ooh, I want to know more. You're just kind of like, they're a kind of standard. She feels like she's from the most kind of normal family, and therefore the least interesting.
Yeah, and also it was really bothering me that the set for the. Don't do that. Oh, I thought we had left it there.
You've balanced correctly.
I've lost it up.
So ignore this swine, he's just here for handyman work.
The set of their flat, it just looked like they were sitting in a part of IKEA.
It was a bit.
It was
like,
it was not a lived-in flat, was it?
I'm waiting to hear the problem here. Like, why wouldn't you want to live in IKEA?
I mean,
yeah, fair.
If the camera had panned out,
you're in our flat.
If you panned out at the end of that scene and it turned out they were all in IKEA, like a man comes past going, "Oh, how much is this?" Suddenly notice that the objects have price tags on them. Like, it's like, "Hey, do you want some Swedish meatballs later?" It's just down there. Go on,
we
Roger.
all live in IKEA, really.
Yes.
We all truly live in IKEA, but their flat it didn't look lived in. It didn't. I know that's that, but in a way, the way the flat was kind of says a lot to me about the character of Yaz as well. It's just like
sort of cutouty.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, it's a bit of this and a bit of that, and isn't that lovely?
She's a very nice character to have around, but I don't really care. If anything happened to Yaz, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I don't. Why should I care? The only person I really care about is Graham, and that's because there's a lot of time spent on him. But like, it's the same. Like with Ryan, the kind of jamming in character development. It's like, oh, we're looking for spiders. I read the letter from my dad. Why is this what?
And it's like we've got the first half of that scene. It might be that we get the second half of that scene in the next episode.
Well, the thing about that as well is that reminds me of something like Russell said in for the commentary for Utopia, there's the moment where Jack's on one side of the door and David's on the other, and that's when they have a conversation about Rose and Torchwood. And in the commentary, it's like, well, you have to have that moment where they're doing something totally unrelated, because then you can have this moment where the people are going to let their guard down and talk. And I get where he's coming from doing it there, because they're searching for spiders, and I'm now going to mention this thing because I need to kind of keep myself distracted from this. But yeah, because it's not as removed as being through a glass door and being turned to ash. It's just spiders hunting. It kind of.
The subject matter as well was quite specific. It wasn't like two people talking about somebody else they knew, and like I can get that you would in that circumstance, but it was just a bit. It was too heavy and too. I know that Chibnall's good with character, and I do believe he's good with character, but I just feel like he's juggling too many balls, and I feel like amongst all this, he's forgetting who the Doctor is as well. Well, that's another thing for another thing. I'll talk about later.
So let's talk about the bum bag. I was expecting that to have an origin story of some sort, like maybe a reason that she's got the bum bag.
She just has it. She gets out the TARDIS. It's not there, and then the next scene it is.
And I feel like this is very nitpicky of us.
Yeah, this is super.
This is such a fan thing. Most people would not care, but it just feels weird that it's just there now, and
it's storing the Sonic.
I want to see it more. I don't care.
No, but like. She has an inside pocket for it. I don't know why she needs it.
Why is she not keeping things in her pockets?
There was a whole thing about that. She just has a bum bag now.
But what? She's got a massive coat.
Yeah.
It's stressing me out, that.
But she's got a bum bag now, Jenny. She's got a bum bag.
Got a little Sonic out of it, unzipped it delicately, got the little... I couldn't cope with that. I almost said something in the episode when she did that. The little Sonic out. It was really. I mean, I don't want to pick on it, but you brought it up, and now I just want to talk about it.
I'm really sorry I opened that.
Can we very quickly talk about, because I completely forgot about it until it snapped in my head. Can we talk about Scientist Lady, because she was really quite. Where did she go? Did she disappear? Was she in the scene? Was she in the scene at the end with the big spider?
Yeah, she is. But that's it. That's the last you see of her.
And then she fades out and she disappears.
No closure. There was no closure.
Yeah.
Actually, that's brought up a thing that's interested me about the Scientist Lady, because I found with both the what was the Chris Noth character called?
Mr. Big Two.
Trump Jr.
Trump Jr.
Robertson.
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 Robertson. What if that's wrong? I'm scared it'll be wrong. Chris Noth and Scientist Lady. There were two scenes where they sort of insert themselves into the plot that felt so like crowbarred in. So like when they were outside the flat door and they went in and then they sorted out the spider and found the dead woman, and then they came back out and then they were like, you need to tell us what's going on, and she was like, alright, come to my lab. Did nobody show no psychic paper? There was no explanation really, was there?
Well, the Doctor shows Chris Noth psychic paper.
But doesn't do it she doesn't do it.
How awkward.
She doesn't do it to Scientist Lady.
No, she doesn't.
Which
I would argue, in that point, she has had a traumatic experience with the Doctor, and the Doctor was the only one who knew how to get them out of the flat alive.
But is that a reason to go and show all your secret research to a woman you don't know? I don't know. It jarred.
It is jarring. It is jarring. I can see why it's justified in the story, but it's not. It doesn't actually work.
No, and then later it happens again with Chris Noth, where there is you're fired. Get out. But actually, before you get out, come up and have a look at this cobwebby room with me.
Yeah,
you as well. Yes, come on.
Room is.
Yeah, that was very strange.
What was going on? It just those kind of. That's why it felt untidy to me. There was a lot of that nonsense. It just felt like Chris was like, well, how can I put these characters in the room?
Well, no, it's all paid off in that moment where he dries his hands very funnily in the mirror. Just.
I feel like they could have done with like exaggerating him even further. Like if they made him even more cartoonish to the point where he's almost not really a human being anymore. But it's kind of just riding the edge there with him. And
I don't know.
And I wasn't entirely sure what he was supposed to be.
Yeah,
really.
That's the thing. He's kind of there just as an antagonistic force for some reason.
Yeah, and I think I was expecting. I mean, obviously they were trying to subvert a kind of classic villain thing with the kind of just because he was ignorant and wasn't paying attention to what he was doing, that kind of created that issue. Because I was really, they mislead you at the beginning of the episode purposefully, making you think that he's trying to cover something.
He's the one behind the spiders.
He's behind the spiders, but he's not. It's just because he's a big arrogant git. And alright, I'm interested that they're I'm interested that they're trying to go a different way with that. But you're right, he wasn't quite cartoonish enough to be a cartoon character, and he wasn't quite serious enough to be. So I didn't know what was going on, and that's why I found him quite cringe.
Okay.
I mean, and could that slightly be because you are used to him in other characters? I mean, I'm guessing for the three of us, we haven't seen him before play other maybe more
never heard of
serious
him.
roles.
Just
So that is the role now that we just know him as slightly weird.
It's just slightly
man.
weird. Possibly the next president of the United States.
I wonder if he's
in Doctor Who universe. He's another character in this series who's just kind of wandered off.
And I think even more though. Maybe they're about the same amount as the Mr. Tim
Shaw.
Tim Shaw. That he goes out in a way that's like he could somehow be a part of a future episode. I think.
I mean, it's hard to tell because we don't know like the last 4 episodes titles or so. And we don't know the time zones they're going to per se. So Chris Noth might come back as president of the United States. I'm not quite sure what story you'd be telling and what kind of home run that would be.
That's good that you picked up on that he's another villain that wandered off.
Yeah,
they've all wandered off.
This episode is the first time that we haven't had someone implanted with a chip.
I was going to say that.
The previous 3 villains all teleported or were forcibly teleported away.
Mm-hmm.
This one he just sauntered out. But I agree, there is a pattern there, I think. Be interesting to see if that plays out. Did this feel like a 4-part Pertwee story shoved into 45 minutes?
I mean, there were spiders, and that's a Pertwee thing.
Yeah.
So I guess.
But like the research lab and the
there's
like
a
the waste
20-minute episode in the research lab.
And like keeps cutting back in the first 15 minutes to the hotel as a separate location, location, before ending up there.
It's like what you said, Jenny, about how there's lots of talking in places and how that worked in the classic series, but not so much now. Episode 2 as well felt like a classic series episode. Like when Chibnall is in his own reign and is in control and is like, right, I'm going to write just a Doctor Who story. It's just, he automatically goes 4-part 1973 and goes. And it's like, it's that specific era almost, just pinned down.
He just wants to make Terror of the Vervoids. Just let him make it.
That's the 80s.
Let him make it right.
It's got, but that's the thing. It's like it's a weird kind of mixed tone as a result, because it's like, oh, that's good or that's interesting. I like this. I'm not sure about that. That makes okay. I will have to rewatch it to understand this.
On that sort of thread, I felt pacing issue again. There felt like, I know we have to sort of build up the tension and we want to find out exactly what's going on sort of in the last bit of the episode, but it just felt like there was a lot of what's going on, and then suddenly in like the last 10 minutes everyone was like, and the spiders are doing this and this is why the spiders are here and this is and it just really felt like everyone was suddenly shouting about why, and it just felt like it was literally all in that one lump at the end. It just felt off, it felt slow.
Yeah, but the spiders like Stormzy, so...
Oh God.
So, Grime, that's not Grime, is it? What's the music?
Yeah, Grime.
Grime, guys.
What did he call it? He said something.
He named the genre.
He said they're like rays.
Rays, that was it.
Yeah.
And when he said rays, I thought he's not going to play some dub, is he, or some kind of music.
I didn't catch.
I feel very white and very much heading into my 30s already. Like I'm not. I don't have my finger on the pulse of the youth today, so I don't know.
I didn't mind it.
I welcomed the image of lots of spiders crawling towards their grime.
We're the eldest in here, right?
Yeah.
Why do we know this?
Yeah, I knew what he meant. I had a feeling he was going to play some kind of music because it would with vibration.
Maybe it was an older person reference, and that's why we got it.
Oh no.
It's not a coolness thing.
I see. I don't mind that. It's like with the pop.
Yeah, you don't mind aging. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Wait
just
till you're 43, like me and Jenny.
But for me, that stuff like that when pop music appears, it reminds me of the RTD era. It just pulls me back to that.
I don't see the problem with it.
Right.
I'm okay with it. I'm alright with pop music being in it. If we want to make it more relevant, if we want to put pop music out, I'm fine with it. It doesn't matter. But I didn't really know in that scene if they were trying to be a bit silly.
I think it's
it was
definitely
more of a funny sort
Oh yeah, it was meant to be funny.
But I don't know if it hit that mark. I don't know.
I think it had me laughing, but obviously it's subjective. But I would say that every episode should have a pop song at the end of it. I think we should be moving into Scooby-Doo territory, please. Yes, thank you. I've mentioned it. Now we can finally talk about Scooby-Doo.
I don't know if there's direction. There's a lot of direction going on to push Jodie into a cookie cutter of a doctor that she's probably not planned on. Because I think we all had different ideas on what her doctor was going to be like very early on when we first started getting the images, promo images, and a tiny bit of footage, like even just the reveal video. Somebody made a meme of it on Twitter and was like, "Oh, Jodie in the reveal video versus the Jodie we actually got, the 13 that we actually ended up with." And it was really funny, but I looked at it and I thought, yeah, what's gone on there? Because there's clearly something going on there. I don't know. I'm just wondering if she's playing the doctor she wanted to play, because it feels very shallow to me. Okay. I don't, because she's supposed to be a very good actress. I'm not an expert on Jodie, but I know a lot of people who are big fans, including my mum. She absolutely bloody loves Jodie Whittaker. I think she's fantastic. But I just don't think she's very good. And the reason, most of her lines is almost like she reads them how I would read a Doctor Who script. And I think she's better than that. So I don't know if it's a script issue. I don't know, or if it's a direction issue, but because she's clearly got talent, so I don't understand. And I feel like there's nothing behind her doctor's eyes at all. And I'm starting to get a bit bored of her comments like, "Don't be mean to Yazzy's mum." Yeah, what? You don't sound like the Doctor sometimes. I don't know.
I will concur this week. I wasn't too big on the Doctor this week, but I think it's because she was just being written as, "Oh, what would the Doctor say here?" I'll do that as opposed to, more like what, us lot would writing a sketch almost.
That's it. That's exactly
Yeah.
it. There's nothing for me, and it's something I've thought since the first episode. There's nothing under there. It's like a fan fiction Doctor. It's like they've written her like, this is how the Doctor sounds. I'm not getting anything underneath her Doctor. Even with Capaldi, who had huge issues with character and with script.
I mean, he played three Doctors.
He played three Doctors. We still at least... I mean, I didn't think he was the Doctor at all. I didn't like him at all in Series 8. He was awful in Series 8. I mean, it's not...
See, for me, I found her much more refreshing because I never connected at all with any aspect of his Doctor. Only in Series 8 was it there, and then they just pulled that all away, so by the end I was like, he's just a kind of Doctor, I guess? So for me, I know where you're coming from, but I had it with the previous guy. For Jodie, I'm very much like, I quite like her. I get an aspect of like, oh, she's like a child. I connect with her like she's like, to steal Phoenix's quote, she's very much like an
imaginary
best friend.
I like that, and she's consistent, so I'll give you that.
I get the aspect of like she almost feels like a 7-year-old.
Yeah, because you have that scene, don't you, as they're leaving the TARDIS and she's going like, "Oh well, off you go then," and then she's like, she's wanting to say, "Oh, maybe we could hang out a bit," but she's doing that child thing. It's like the way she's like standing by the door as well, it's just sort of swaying a little bit.
Rubs the door, but because she's shy. But there are points where there has been a lot of dialogue throughout so far, which is very safe Doctor.
Yeah.
There's definitely not been a kind of concerted effort in the script to kind of go, what's this one like? Mm-hmm. It's kind of following, which I've always thought was a fallacy, the idea of, oh, you write the Doctor the same whoever's playing it and it will all come out. I don't believe that for a second. And so I think we're seeing an example of that possibly. However, there was a line of dialogue in this episode where she still said doesn't know who she is.
And I'm allowing space for that. I'm pretty chill about it. Like, I'm not... expecting amazing things or bad things. I'm just going along with it, and I know it takes time. Like, as say with Capaldi, it took me a whole series before I even remotely regarded him as the Doctor. But yeah, for me, I just like to have a little bit more to my Doctor. I'm just wondering if Chibnall is just playing it really safe with her. I honestly think that the pressure of it all is probably very much present in his and Jodie's minds, and I think they're playing it safe, and you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's not really a way you can dislike her Doctor. I don't. I'm just like, I just wish there was more to her. But you can't dislike her because she's so nice and fun, and she's coming round for tea.
That's the kind of Doctor we need, though, after the last few years.
Yeah. And I get you, but the Doctor is also a colossally dark character, and we just need flickers of that. Matt Smith did it with his eyes.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see more of that.
I want more of that. I don't need them to be like, I'm the last of the Time Lords, blah, 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 I did this. Or I don't need that, but I do need a little bit, I need some more layers, and I'm not getting it.
We need to see more of this Doctor's teeth.
I think we could achieve that. Possibly, I mean, maybe they film something like that this series, but I think we could achieve that if we had a scene, or more scenes like the ones with the Doctor and Krasko, Space Racist, from last week, where it's just the Doctor dealing with somebody who's more in her wheelhouse in terms of travel or sci-fi nonsense or whatnot. Because that was the scene last week where I said oh, there's the Doctor.
Yeah.
There's the Doctor, now I'm feeling it. And maybe we just need more of that, because at the moment she has been the babysitter / best mate to the humans who she's looking after, which has been a lovely chemistry with them. But I know what you mean. There's it feels like we're missing an element of the character.
Can we take a bit more control? The fact it's really nice to be calling your companions your friends, and it's really nice to all work together. I loved that in Rosa. There's a lot of that I really like, but also the Doctor's our hero. And we need to watch the Doctor take control, and I think especially, what I've learned most of all is that the gender of the Doctor absolutely doesn't matter, and I was one of those people who's a bit concerned about it. Gender doesn't matter, that's not even a problem to me, but if we're going to be sort of referencing that, now that we've got a female Doctor, I really would like to see her do some shit and take control. And what I didn't like about the end of this episode was, let's all pull the lever together. It's like, no, sorry, no.
Oh, okay. See, I like that bit.
See, it was nice. Yeah, it's very nice because they're all friends and they're going around space and they're working together. But I want the Doctor to be in control, and I feel like the Doctor doesn't quite take enough control at the moment.
It's also the Capaldi approach again of, let's just pull this one lever and then the TARDIS goes.
Yeah, go.
But yeah, okay. I agree. It'd be nice to see more of the Doctor's teeth. I do agree with that. I do like the moment of her. I prefer the Doctor being... I don't like this kind of, which was very much the Capaldi thing of just no, I am unknowable, you mustn't know me. I like that, but normally, or in the past when the Doctor's been chummy, there have been moments where you can tell it's a facade, and I think maybe it's just, this version is just too pure of nice, and it's
13th Doctor, too pure.
Too 4 episodes in.
She's too wholesome.
I like it, again, I'm fine with it. But I can see that being a problem.
She's very nice. I'd love to be a friend.
Yeah.
But, that's... we all want to be the Doctor's friend, but we also like the Doctor for all the facets of that character. And I'm not seeing them. I'm just seeing quirky, let's run around and have biscuits and have a nice time. It's not enough yet. But I think there's time, and I'm very excited for wherever they go with the finale. I'm excited to see no idea where they're going with that. But I'm just excited to what the finale will be like and what they'll be doing there, because I think we've got the potential for some darkness there. And if Chibnall doesn't take that opportunity, then I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, if he's going to do an episode set with the witch hunters and everything, with a female Doctor, you've got to tackle
I'm excited for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the Doctor does not get trialed as a witch, I'll be fuming.
And of course, Krasko will be there. He'll be there.
Billy
Salem.
Krasko.
Krasko's a thing.
Donald
I'm
Trump.
making space racist a thing. Oh, that's really uncomfortable. I shouldn't have said that.
You said that.
Don't ever deny us of rounding up the episode by fading to black. Don't do that again. Don't.
No more fades.
Fade it to black instead of giving us closure on the
Yeah.
It's
episode.
like the scene's still carrying on,
It's
but it's
weird.
just fading out.
It is weird because the Doctor kind of walks up to the spider, and I expected then to be the show close up of a prosthetic spider there,
Yeah.
and she kind of pats it and gets a bit
'Cause
of goo on her, but
Yeah.
that's kind of like, dead spider.
Where was
I
I'm
would love
used
that.
to that happening.
I would have loved
So I
that.
didn't, you know.
Yeah.
where was Hagrid and bloody Jim Broadbent giving it a eulogy? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I want to see the spider funeral.
Yes.
Why don't we get
Post
that?
credits.
We've been denied it twice now. It was short-handed the first time.
Graveyard.
They drag it to the spiders of television graveyard.
This is great because then you can force a scene with Graham going. This reminds me of Grace.
and then the camera can pan and Grace can be over his shoulder.
Yeah, just watching him.
Which is the thing that I
Lovely
kind of.
spider.
I used to
We
love
haven't
spiders,
referenced
Yeah, we
great.
haven't talked about that.
We should talk about that.
That was
I was expecting it to happen when she died. Not instantly, but when the episode ended, I was like, well, they did say she's a recurring character, and I imagine that she will reappear as a ghost.
I kind of
So
I don't think they're done with that actor. I think she will come back.
Yeah.
I think the use of Grace in this episode was done really, really well. Because it became clear at the very end when he said, like, I can't stay there, I'm not ready yet, it just reminds me too much of her not being around.
Yeah.
So I think I got it. Like, she was always kind of out of focus. It was more just about being there. He's
Yeah.
seeing her, he's feeling her, he's missing her, he realises she's not around anymore. It's too
I was
much.
going to say, like,
So I like
direction-wise, I was really happy with how she was always out of focus until the reflection. But even then, she's not, like, in the room. It's
Yeah.
the reflection. It's like there's
And then,
clever stuff
and
like
then the punch of him turning and she's not there. And,
See,
yeah.
I really liked it. I thought it was really nice,
It's a
but
lovely
also
depiction of grief.
it's a very nice depiction of grief. But I'm gonna Lippmann at this now. But I've noticed, and I think I can't remember who I was discussing this with. It might have been you, Billy. We were talking about how this series has a real. I can't even talk. It's got a recurring habit of showing us and not telling us. No, telling us, not showing us.
Yes.
And there's
You're
a
meant
lot of
to
that.
show,
And
not tell.
they did it in this episode as well, where Graham literally said what they were doing as they were doing it,
Yeah.
and literally voiced their concern. And it's like you don't need to tell us all the time.
Yeah.
And in a way, the Grace thing, you know, Bradley Walsh is fantastic, and I just think they didn't need Grace in that flat.
You could have done it with
Okay.
him.
Yeah,
You could have done it without her.
her.
Now, I liked it, so I'm not massively criticising it. I'm more, rather than criticising it, I'm more saying, well, that actually could have been done another way as well. And we saw in his face when he decided to go back to the house what was going on. And
Yeah,
we didn't need
we did.
anything else. We didn't need Grace there then. Did we need her in the flat?
Well, I wanted to say the moment where it cuts to Graham outside the house and there's the shot of him, before you've even cut to show that he's staring at the house, you kind of know where he is. Well, it's set up in the dial, you know where he is. And it's just that shot of him. And I wanted to say at that moment, when did this show just turn into Graham? Like, he's like...
In the best possible way,
He
because
is-
we all love Graham.
He's so...
Golden Graham.
He's the heart of the series.
Yeah. And we thought
Unexpectedly.
we thought he'd be the opposite of that. We thought he was going to be sort of a grouch, much more
We
grouchy.
thought he'd be grouchy. Yeah. We weren't expecting him to come out being just this kind of lovable granddad figure.
Wolf
2.0.
2.0.
So yeah, it was. I'm. Yeah, you're right though. It's a problem this series which has been constant, especially in in the 3 out of the 4 episodes. Chibnall's episodes are very much like we're going to do this, this, and this, and then they do this, this, and this.
And sometimes they're saying what they're doing as they're doing it
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. And you know, I do understand that the sort of, obviously we're not your typical passive viewer, but the general viewers who just tune in and watch it and then forget about it. What kind of a life is that? You know, they all complain that Moffat's stuff was too complicated. The thing is, it wasn't actually too complicated. It was just rubbish. But with
It
Chibnall,
thought it was clever.
It
Yes.
thought it was clever, but
yeah.
obviously, you know, but with this, yeah, they've made it much more family friendly, which is great. So I do think Stephen went too far a lot of the time, like with the whole Amy Pond pregnancy and all that, really went too far sometimes. Sorry, I've brought that back up. But this, this
Sorry,
is
this is
now
therapy,
like
it's fine.
you're actually. It's nice. I'm enjoying it. But this is actually insulting the intelligence of children watching this. Children they're actually a lot brighter than you think they are.
Yeah.
Wait, run behind this pillar.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that in.
Just run behind the pillar.
Yeah.
Or just quick.
Or quick, or you don't even,
hide.
There you go, yeah, and that's it.
A command from the Doctor to tell you what to do to survive this situation.
I'll say this, that out of the 4 so far, this is sort of joint 2 for me as the ones that I'm like, yeah, alright.
Yeah.
But some of the visuals in this one will stick with me, and not just because of the mild arachnophobia.
Mm.
They've all had something, and none of the episodes have been bad. It's just been mostly okay. Episode 3 was standout great for me, and I hope we get more like that.
Episode 1 was like a really nice palate cleanser overall.
Yeah.
Time will tell how it ages as an episode on its own.
But I'm just worried that the rest of the series is just gonna be, yeah, that was good. Because Doctor Who needs to be more than that, especially this year.
It's playing it safe.
Yeah.
So many people have said how fresh this series feels, but I have to be honest, it is not fresh. It's very safe. It is extremely safe. Obviously, you don't want to scare everybody off because it is a big change, but equally, people aren't being scared off, are they? They're coming back. Maybe the safety was a good option, but I don't know. I just think but he might pull something out of the hat as the series goes on. He might start just looting his shit.
You might go bonkers.
He might go mad. So I don't know.
Chris Chibnall just walks in one episode, just becomes part of the story.
No, there you go.
I'm here to help you guys out. That's because, it's my best friend, Chris Chibnall.
Oh my god.
We've been talking about this for too long.
I want to do this. We've not done this, but like,
Okay.
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
Chris?
I had fun. It wasn't amazing, but some of it's going to stick with my brain for a while. Trump stuff was on the nose, especially when they mentioned him, because that means he's been mentioned twice in modern Doctor Who. And that brings me to the real world in a way that I don't want. However, enjoyed it for the most part. A strong 5 out of 10. Middle.
So?
First creepy episode in a long time. Like, I haven't been creeped out from Doctor Who for I can't remember the last time. So 7. I think 7.
I was going to go for a 5 as well. 5 out of 10, solid 5. It wasn't a bad episode, but yeah, too much info dumping. I thought that it was too abrupt in the way it ended, and it was very untidy in a lot of areas, but I am giving it the 5 primarily because they did the spiders right. They absolutely did the spiders right, and it did make my skin crawl. But it really, I was thinking actually, it's called Arachnids in the UK, isn't it? It was more like just Arachnids in Sheffield, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
But you wouldn't have the good play on, it was Benji who picked up on the Anarchy in the UK.
It's Anarchy, yeah.
So that was very nice, but Arachnids in Sheffield. So 4 out of 10. No, 5, it's 5.
I would say it was a 5 as well, just because for me it's like straight down the middle, like that's just an episode of Doctor Who. 5 out of 10.
I rate this spider emoji, spider web emoji, sunglasses emoji, man with exploding head emoji. So a solid 5, really. I had fun. I thought the spiders were cute.
You're weird.
Jenny, where can we find you?
Me?
Not generally, but where can we, for people watching, where can we find you?
I'm under Lippmann Ed on YouTube. That's LIPPMANNETTE, because I didn't think about spelling when I made that YouTube. So that's where you can find me. Or on Twitter, where I tend to hover around more. Queen of the Sonic on there. Bye.
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 Has anyone noticed a spider on the table?